Oh, it's fine.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I have the pleasure to present you the CoFresh project and specifically the intervention research approach that is very central to the project itself. So first of all, the CoFresh project has been funded under the call food security, sustainable agriculture and forestry, marine, maritime and inland water research and bioeconomy. More specifically, it has been funded under RUR 06. So this call dealt with the innovative agri-food value chains and boosting sustainability-oriented competitiveness. So CoFresh revolves around co-creating sustainable and competitive fruits and vegetable chains in Europe. And it is a 3.5 years project, which started in October 2020. It's an innovation action which features 7 agri-food value chains, which represent the fields of fruits, vegetables, but also plant-based meat analogs and feed. Our consortium consists of 26 full partners and 2 associate partners. The consortium brings together different actors from the agri-food value chains, in total 10 different countries, which you can see on the map below. And most of our consortium is comprised of agri-food companies, but also actors associations in the fields of farmers associations, food producer associations and collaboratives, but also consumer associations. And then we also have experts in the technological and non-technological solutions, technological meaning digital, and the non-technological meaning social, organizational, but also managerial and institutional solutions. And lastly, we have experts in environmental, social, and economic sustainability issues and consumer acceptance. So the main object of the CoFresh project is to redesign and pilot innovative systemic approaches to the agri-food value chains in order to scale up at European level. And these innovative approaches will then, in turn, hopefully improve the economic, social, and environmental performance of these value chains through smart integration of technological, social, organizational, managerial, and also institutional innovations, all of which serve to make them more sustainable. So the basic structure of the CoFresh project, you can see on the top. The first step is to really map and assess the state of the art that is available and implemented in the European agri-food value chain environment. Then to create a framework and certain indicators for evaluating the innovation implementation, and also to search for success factors. So the key success factors that really are important for the companies in pursuing their sustainability-oriented innovation. Those results then feed into the portfolio of innovative business models that is partly already available, and also implications for policy and the governance. After the first step, the mapping and assessing, we are trying to use those information and the state of the art to implement and redesign the value chains of our 7 pilot cases in core working groups, also called the pilot case working groups. And this is also done in close collaboration and networking with the sister projects that have been funded under the same topic, and also EURAGRI and other European initiatives. And in the end, the results, we would like to have technological and non-technological innovative solutions, which are readily available in databases, but also on EURAGRI abstract databases, sorry, and also try to disseminate all those results through our networking activities and the sister projects. One of the interesting aspects is also that one of the project outcomes will be to create a certification mark, which will be developed at the end of the project, and also to create policy briefs. So the work plan of the project is depicted here. The work package 1 is mainly concerned with the identification, the analysis of innovative and sustainable agri-food value chains, and the state-of-the-art analysis. This then feeds into the work package 5, the exploitation of results, but also work package 2, which is really concerned with redesigning those pilot cases value chains. And this will be the basis for the work package 3, where we actually pilot and monitor the redesigned interventions. And work package 4, which is a work package dedicated to validation and assessment of those value chains, mostly related to environmental assessment, economic assessment, social assessment, but also a consumer acceptance assessment, which is led by Italia, will all feed into the work package 5 and the work package 6, where we exploit the results, create new business models, and also have a look at the replicability potential of those innovations. One very important work package within the project is also the work package 7, which is the cooperation with other sister projects funded under the same topic, and also with the EURAGRI. And this work package is led by the University of Ghent, and they have already made extensive contributions to this project. So as I already mentioned, the state-of-the-art assessment has been already done, as well as the work package 2, where we designed the pilot case agri-food value chains. We are now at the step where we are piloting those redesigned value chains in work package 3. So we are at a very crucial step of the project right now. The intervention research, which is one of the core aspects or core concepts of this project, is an emergent collaborative process of inquiry that studies models of collective action within and across organizations. And through the intervention research, CoFresh aims at identifying models and practices of sustainable, innovative value chains and implementing them in the 7 selected pilot cases. The intervention research can be broadly divided into 5 different steps. The first step is to develop the situation and the frameworks. The second step is to specify program structures or intervention structures and the processes. The third step is to implement those interventions and refine them, following by testing their effectiveness in a variety of practice settings. And lastly, to disseminate the findings and the materials within Europe. So I would like to briefly introduce you to the pilot cases that we have in the project. So in total, as I said, we have 7 pilot cases. The first is La Terre des Zoe. It's an Italian organization that produces different kind of organic fruits, juices, and jams. And within the frame of this project, we are looking at the value chain for producing organic orange fruit juice. Floret is a company that is based in Spain, and they produce minimally processed salads, toppings, and other related products. And within the frame of this project, we are looking at a young leaf salad bags. Food Valley is based in the Netherlands, and they produce plant-based meat analog products. And in CoFresh, we are looking at fava bean-based vegan burgers. The Chamber of Agriculture in Pays de la Loire in France is also one of our pilot cases, and we are looking at protein-rich feed, which is locally sourced for for pig production and husbandry. Then the next pilot case that we have is the Polski Association Eco Owoc, and they produce fresh fruits, frosted fruit cubes, and also organic fruit juice, puree, and dried fruits. And we are looking at frosted fruit cubes and organic fruit purees. And then we have this company from Hungary, Pilzenagi, and they produce a bunch of different mushrooms, and mainly in CoFresh we are focusing on oyster mushrooms. And then lastly but not least, we have another pilot case called CoExFal, and they produce different fresh fruits and vegetables, and their pilot case product is a fruits and vegetable box that you can see on the picture. So coming to the intervention research approach in a little bit more detail, and also in relation to what our actions in the projects have been, and the steps that are planned. I would like to start with the first step, which was the identification of the state of the art, which was related to identifying risks, but also promotive and constraining factors relating to the current situation in the agri-food value chains. And within the work package 1, we have identified over 100 innovative agri-food value chains. And we have also analyzed their business models. So we were looking at what worked successfully, what did not work, were there collaborations happening between the producers, and under which circumstances were those business models successful. On the second step, which was mainly done by work package 2, which was dedicated to designing the interventions necessary for the pilot cases on the basis of the state-of-the-art analysis, we have designed realistic interventions based on the empirical and qualitative data of the pilot cases, and also reviewed those intervention strategies in pilot case working groups, including the potential intervention agents and other participants. So the intervention design has been done in the pilot case working group meetings. Those were participatory workshops held for each pilot case working group, and those pilot case working groups included a pilot case leader who pushed the innovation, a support partner, which was mainly a partner from the research, acting as a facilitator between the pilot case and the research institutes. And of course, we had rapporteurs and also stakeholders representing different steps of the value chain. And we really try to cover all the different steps of the value chain, so we get a more accurate picture of the whole situation. So we were looking at processing, primary production, transport, but also retail, marketing, the consumers, and all the other aspects related to the value chain. Within the first workshop, we have held a World Cafe with those pilot case working groups and conducted a SWOT analysis to get an idea about the strengths and weaknesses, but also the opportunities and threats of each of the value chains. And then we have ranked those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to see what are the most pressing and most important ones. In the second workshop, we have then identified potential innovations for each of the pilot cases. Again, ranking the most suitable innovations for each category. And the 3 categories that we were looking at were the process innovations, product innovations, and managerial innovations. Here you can see an overview, which is a general overview, not connected to the pilot cases themselves. So what's interesting about this is that there was quite a large consensus about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats among the value chains. Of course, there were some differences, but in general, we have seen very many similarities. And one of the strengths that has been mentioned the most was the good taste, and also the locality and the local character of the product, which has been viewed as a very important strength for the value chains. For the weaknesses, we have already seen that there's a lack of cohesion between the different players of the agri-food value chain. There is also a lack of manpower and labor. We have seen that many of those value chains have not yet implemented some form of e-commerce system. And also there is a lack of promotion of the products for the value chains. Looking at the opportunities, many value chains have mentioned that marketing and new sales channels would be a great opportunity for the value chain to expand and be more profitable. Also, the changing diets and personalized diets have been identified as a major opportunity, and also consumer awareness, as I mentioned, which has been a weakness, is seen as a good opportunity for the value chains to be more successful. Looking at the threats, I think one of the major threats, and we have heard this also in the other talks this morning and afternoon, are the growing costs of energy and general inputs, which are of course related to the inflation, but also the COVID pandemic. So this has been seen as one of the major threats facing this sector. So the innovation selection process, you can see here, we have started with 203 potential innovations proposed in all of the. Oh, sorry. You can see that we have started with 203 innovations proposed in the 7 pilot case working groups related to products, marketing, processing, but also management. And out of these 203 innovations, we have selected in the end 63 innovations, considering their innovation level, their potential impact on the value chain sustainability, and of course also on their feasibility to actually implement within the frame of the CoFresh product. Those innovations were ranked with a Delphi votation, which is a method to reach a consensus among all the participants in the end, a stepwise process to come to a conclusion in the end. And finally, from these 63 innovations, we have selected 18 innovations that we will now pilot in the agri-food value chains within CoFresh. The innovations that were selected were mostly related to the process step, but also the products and finally managerial innovations. Regarding products, many of the innovations are related to marketing campaigns, raising awareness about the product, but also creating new products and recipes and packaging for extended shelf life. Looking at the processes, many pilot cases mentioned that smart systems related to IoT would be very interesting. For example, water irrigation systems, and also utilization of side and waste streams along the value chain were selected. Coming to the management, the innovations that have been selected are related to the brand recognition of many of the pilot cases, creating new sales channels, and also establishing strategic alliances with other companies. The main steps of the value chains that are targeted by those innovations that have been selected are the commercialization step and also the product development step. And interestingly, none of those innovations targeted the logistics. So, as I've mentioned before, we are now at the implementation step. So we are currently designing experiments, detailing what needs to be done in each of the agri-food value chains, and then reach an agreement between all the pilot case working group partners. And then we will start to pilot those experiments in the 7 pilot cases. Afterwards, we are going to refine those interventions by studying different components of the interventions in depth and refine the program. We will also develop some adaptation guidelines for each of the value chains, which will be of which will provide some guidance and actions on how to improve on the intervention. On the fourth step, we will conduct a life cycle assessment of all of these supply chains. We have already done one assessment at the start of the project to create a baseline, because it was important to have a very clear idea about each of the value chains. And we will continue to monitor the environmental, economic, but also the consumer acceptance side after implementing those interventions. And lastly, of course, dissemination, exploitation, and communication will be a very important step to communicate our findings, create replicability among the EU agri-food value chain environment, and also networking with sister projects, thematic networks, and operational groups is of utmost importance for disseminating the findings. I would like to encourage all of you to follow us on our social media channels. We are represented on LinkedIn and on Twitter. We also, of course, have a website, which you can find on the last slide. So please, we would be very happy if you would follow our project activities. And with this, thank you very much for the attention. And if you want to have more information, you can see my contact details and also the website.